So happy Wednesday, everybody. The main thing that I want to talk about first, for those of us that are behind, those of us that are struggling, you know who you are. The hardest thing is that a lot of us are upset with ourselves because we know we're behind, we know we're struggling, and we know we should be doing more, and we end up using up our energy worrying about it. That's why I talk about, having integrity is so important, because if you're doing what's right, you can feel good about yourself. It doesn't mean your emotions aren't going to go like this, right? It still happens to all of us anyway. But if you have that attitude of, oh man, I feel like crap today, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to get my work done. And there's that actual proof. Even though I feel like crap, look, I did my work. I'm a good person. And when I do that, I feel better about myself. So my bad moods don't go on for days and weeks. I have a bad mood literally for an hour or two, and then I do my positive affirmations and I get myself back in the right frame of mind. What I was noticing yesterday in one of my classes was that the kids that are behind keep staying behind even though they're doing work. And yesterday I think we did that second short answer response, and I explained exactly how to do it and how to write it and so forth. And then I went to the kids in the class and I'm like, do you have any questions? Let me see your answer. What does your answer look like? And they're like, I'm working on the portfolio instead. Or, I'm trying to finish the essay instead. And it's like, well, do you understand that you're hurting yourself? You're hurting yourself by not keeping up with the daily work. So just, I wanted to give us a little visual representation here. So if you can see my pile, it's pretty tall. This is my pile of stuff that I have to catch up on, right? And this pile it's a lot to do. Oh my God, I've got a test to do. I've got a rough draft essay to do. I've got discussion questions to do. I've got this pile of work. Oh my God, what am I going to do? So every day class starts, right? And Carvajal says, oh, well, here's our assignment for today. Let me start explaining this assignment. So instead of listening to me explain the assignment, oh, I'm working on this, right? And I'm fussing over this. And then eventually you finish working on this assignment, but 2 days have gone by, and instead of your pile getting smaller, it's gotten bigger. And sometimes it stays the same. Sometimes it gets a little smaller, but the next day comes, here's our new assignment. Oh, wait, I'm working on this one. I'm not listening to you. I'm doing that. Okay, I finished that assignment. Damn, now I've got 2 more things that I have to do. So your pile never shrinks. I think y'all get what I'm saying here, right? The thing to do is, if Carvajal gives you assignment today, if you listen today, if you work on it today, if you're done with it today, you don't have to add it to the pile. So if you can create the habit for yourself, okay, today's work, and honestly, most of the stuff in this class, it'll take you 10 minutes to do if you pay attention and you just do it. So take that 10 minutes, do Carvajal's assignment for today. My pile hasn't gotten any bigger. Isn't that nice? And then you're done with my assignment in 10, 15 minutes. Then do another assignment and your pile is going to get smaller. Tomorrow, new assignment. Okay, let me do that assignment. I'm a good person. I got today's work done today, and let me get rid of another assignment. Here's an assignment for today. Let me do today's work. Do today's work today. I know in some classes you can't really do it in class time, but in my class you can, so that your pile starts getting smaller, and eventually you'll get to the bottom of it, right? If you don't keep up with today's work, your pile's going to keep building up. You'll never finish. So I want y'all to really think about that. It's easy to tune out, especially when we're at home, right? Especially those of us that are struggling. Oh, let me tune out. Let me worry about it later. I want you to focus in now. I want you to suffer and do the work that needs to be done now so your pile shrinks instead of staying the same or getting better. Okay, I think that makes sense. So for today, here's what I want us to do. And once again, if you're passing, if you're doing good in the class right now, you don't have to worry about it. You're welcome to just listen. You do not have to respond. Doing the assignment will not help your grade. But if you're not passing, this assignment will help your grade. You'll be able to replace a 0 or a low grade. So if your grade is above 75 or an 80, don't bother doing it. I don't have time to raise your grade from a 97.8 to a 98. Just don't worry about that. Okay, so let me share screen now and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So today, December 9th, we will focus on reading and riddle skills, and I will respond writing a clear thesis statement. And here's a problem that I've seen. A lot of us don't do the writing because, I'm not sure how to answer that. And we have to get used to figuring it out and answering those essay questions. Because if you don't write your thesis, you're going to get stuck, and then sometimes we give up. So we don't want that to happen. So that's what we're going to be doing today. This is old. I haven't changed it yet. There is a riddle. If anybody wants to try and figure out the riddle, that's our discussion for today. So you can look in Schoology, just like we're going to do right now. And here's the riddle if anybody wants to try their hand at it, but don't do it yet. Pay attention to this, and let's do good on this. So this is a makeup grade. If your grade is low, do quality work, and this will replace a missing grade, excluding major grades and the essay grades. These are the newest things, so I can't replace that with it. So if you have in the 80 to 100 range, don't respond unless you want to. There's no need to. So what we're going to do is just figure out what the essay means and what the prompt is asking us. Because a lot of us have problems understanding, and we're trying too hard. Kind of like with poetry. Those of us that have struggled with poetry, you have to learn how to read between the lines. So let me see if I can find my, you know what, let me find the assignment. Open up a copy of it. You can open up your own copy of it, or you can just look at it through the discussion grade. So when you're trying to figure out a thesis, the best thing you can do is use your riddle skills and try and understand it. So here's our example. Write an essay explaining how the negative stereotypes and dismissive attitudes of the older generation negatively impact teenagers. In the process, be sure to highlight how you have struggled to be heard and understood. So if your brain goes, I don't get it, I'm checking out. Okay, good, suffer. And don't check out, focus in, right? So you can figure it out. And it's so important to learn how to do that on purpose. Suffer if you have to. So let's look at this question again, because a lot of essay questions are written kind of like this. And hint, hint, the one on our midterm exam is written with this kind of language. So keep that in mind. Okay, so write an essay explaining how the negative stereotypes and dismissive attitudes of the older generation negatively impact teens. Well, what do you think they're saying there? What do you think? Oh, I'm not sure, Mr. Carvajal. Hey, it's okay not to be sure, but try and use your riddle skills and take a guess. And then, of course, you want to highlight the key words, negative stereotypes and dismissive attitudes of older generation, and then come up with what you think the answer is. If you really don't know those words, what the heck is dismissive attitudes? And of course, you know you can Google it, right? Google meaning of dismissive attitudes, and then come up with the answer. And then take a stab at it. What do you think it means? So for the thing that we're doing today, that's what you're going to be doing. So the paraphrase that I came up with, write an essay that tells how dealing with older people not taking you seriously because you're young has made things harder for you. And in the second half of the question, show how you have tried to make them listen to you. Okay, so that's my paraphrased version. So what do you think? How do you deal with older people not taking you seriously because you're young? And show how you try to make them listen. So you answer the question in your own words. What do you think? But then you write your thesis using the key words. So we highlighted the key words up here, and that's how we're going to answer it. So in this example, negative stereotypes and dismissive attitudes of the older generations have negatively impacted teenagers by, well, What do you think, right? That's your what. Well, how did that impact me when I was a teenager? It made me feel ignored and upset. So you put by making them feel ignored and upset. And then you got to put the why, right? Why is that important? Because this is what you're going to actually write about in your essay. Because when you try to explain and they don't listen, it feels like you're wasted your time and energy. Okay, so that is the thesis that I came up with for that prompt. And if you think about it, it's really not that difficult. You just have to trust yourself and use your riddle skills. What are the keywords? Paraphrase it. If you need to Google something, Google something. Now, of course, you cannot, don't look at other people's answers. Don't Google other things, but you can definitely use Google. Because if you were in classroom, you'd be using a dictionary, right? You can open up a dictionary and look up these words. So don't be afraid to Google. And it's the same thing on the final exam. If you don't know a word on the exam or any exam, use Google. Most of us do anyway, but for the few of us that don't want to do anything wrong, good, I'm proud of you. Yes, you can use Google to look up words. So how do you get a replacement grade on this? Well, all you have to do is copy this down, pick your essay prompt. There's 4 essay prompts, and you just copy and paste this into the discussion. You pick one prompt, and you copy the prompt. You highlight, and I don't think you can highlight in there, so you have to either bold or underline the keywords, and then you come up with your paraphrase. This is what I think it means. And then you write your thesis, your what do you think, and your why. You just have to pick one. Pick one of these 4, and you do not, let me repeat, are we listening? You do not have to write an essay. All you have to write is your thesis. Be sure your thesis has a what do you think and a why, because the why is what you're going to base your body paragraphs off of, right? Like in mine here. When you try to explain and they don't listen, it feels like you've wasted your time and energy. Well, I could easily remember a time talking to my dad when that happened. So my body paragraph, I remember when I was 15 and I wanted to get a car, and I explained to my dad that I should have a car. And it was very difficult for me to have to do everything I had to do walking and trying to get rides. And my dad laughed at me and made me feel like a fool. There's my first body paragraph, right? Focused on the why. But once again, you don't have to write body paragraphs, just writing your thesis. So let's look at these essay prompts. Write an essay that illuminates the trials and tribulations of life in the age of COVID-19 and discuss how one may cope with and ultimately succeed in living a fulfilling life regardless of the circumstances one must overcome. What? Right? We're going to use our riddle skills. Write an essay that shows the problems of life in the COVID age and discuss how you can do good and overcome. Ooh, I've cheated. Oops, I've showed you how to paraphrase it. Let's paraphrase another one. Write an essay discussing how one may find solace in times of trouble and ultimately create a peaceful frame of mind. In the process, be sure to explain how you can maintain a positive and healthy balance in your life. Right? So what's the paraphrase? Write an essay discussing how you can do good, find peace when there are problems, and in the end, create peace in your mind, right? And talk about how to maintain a healthy balance in your life. If you just overlook the big words, use your riddle skills and focus on what you know, it's really not that difficult. But we have to get over that I'm not sure, right? It's okay not to be sure. You just have to trust yourself. I am smart, confident, and successful. Take a shot at it. If you take a shot and actually do what you're supposed to do, you will get a decent grade. Trust me, I'm the teacher. I know. Okay, so where is it? Last thing, and then we're done. So when you come in here, come on, you can do it. When you come in here, all you have to do is choose your prompt. Oh, I like this one. Right? And then copy and paste it into your comment. And there it is into the comment, right? Once I have it copied and pasted in, I'm gonna bold the keywords because you can't highlight there, right? So I've bolded the keywords, and then I'm going to copy the 3 steps that I have to do. And it's annoying when you copy, it always jumps like that. So, and you want to ask yourself, well, how many parts of the question are there? This part and this part. So there's 2 parts of the question. Well, you get what I mean, right? There's 2 parts of the question, and then read over it. Write an essay in which you compare and contrast how life today in the age of home automation versus life as it was 10 years ago. Through the use of your own personal experiences, give specific examples of how things have changed and how those changes has affected our attitudes about safety. Ooh, so what does that mean? Home automation. A lot of us have Ring, a lot of us have Alexa or Google Home, right? Compare today to 10 years ago, and how have things changed? And how has it affected our attitudes about safety? So I would put that in as my paraphrase. And if you're not sure if you're right, suffer and take a shot. And then write your thesis. Be sure and put your what and your why. Put them both, right? Because you got to have 2 parts to your answer. If you give me a full thesis with a what do you think and a why using the keywords, you're going to get a good grade, even if you're not perfectly on target. If you have any questions for me, please ask. Otherwise, those of us that need to get this done, work on it. I'll be here if you want to message me. And those of us that have a good grade in this class, you can work on something from another class or do anything you need to do to help yourself. And of course, if you want to answer the little riddle, it's just silly. Answer it and have fun with it. Okay, if there's any questions, let me know.